CI Games. The plot thickest, right. CI Games is the latest company to rebel against forced DEI. So, like I said, this is another thing that we should have left in 2024, but we are still going with this plot. The last video I put out about Assassin's Creed, the same crowd got to it again, and they disliked it to hell. So I'm like, yeah, I got y'all. I got you. Y'all still mad. Y'all are still mad. It's so funny. But let's see what CI Games has to say, because Arrowhead Studios was the previous one that we talked about. So let's see what they have to say. CI Games, the publisher behind Lords of the Fallen, which again, I feel like Siggy was the only one who liked that damn game. I tried to like it, but it wasn't for me. Has taken a similar stance against DEI in gaming. In a recent investors chat, the company global marketing director Ryan Hill took an authoritative tone, clearly stating that the company won't integrate any social or political agencies into these experiences because it's just too risky. Huh. So you won't integrate what up Dupless? You already banned 5-7 YouTube channels and do not recommend it because of roast scaring right. Yeah. But the one good thing is I think that people are finally, taking a stance and they're like, hey, like y'all are grifting, so we're gonna stop supporting you because that's all that you're talking about. But again, back to they said it won't integrate any social or political agencies into these experiences because it's just too risky. I wonder if this Ryan Hill even know what they're talking about. Does he know what he's talking about? Let's continue on. Many players do not appreciate this. In a statement secured by Strefa during a recent CI Games investor call, Ryan Hill, who's heads up marketing on a global scale for the firm, said, while some video games have recently taken an opportunity to embed social or political agendas within their experiences, it is clear that many players do not appreciate this. Again, who are you? I wonder where you're getting your information from. Where are you getting your information from? Because I wanted to believe, especially last year, because we're hearing people against DEIs very loudly, and there was a section on social media that did agree with the sentiment of the grifters, the anti-woke folks. But I thought about it and I'm like, is this really what the majority of gamers think like? And no, the answer is no. And we saw that multiple times, especially during the Assassin's Creed thing. I mean, you literally had the leader of the freaking group in on Steam um went to Japan and asked people, what do you think about a black man in the video game? What do you think about the history? And they were like, we don't care, right? And the average gamer does not care about this stuff. It's only the people who live on the internet that see it, and only a smaller subsection on the internet that care about this, right? And it's hard for me to come to that realization. But again, after months and months and months of going after the anti-woke folks and saying, hey, y'all are idiots, like why do y'all think like this? There nobody is coming after your video games, and nobody is ruining or intentionally ruining your video games. And I realized that, yeah, this is a small subsection that is just very loud, and they were very loud on the internet. This isn't how the average gamer feels. I can almost guarantee you they don't care. They don't know about this stuff. So, so I have to realize and understand that. So I wonder what Ryan Hill has saw, what he has seen from gamers or players, that he gets this stance that they don't appreciate this, right? We've seen a number of high profile releases underperforming commercially during this last year alone, which again, I would push back against that a little bit too, because they really high profile. A lot of the games that got dunked on were not high profile. They got talked about a lot because of the whole Sweet Baby Inc. and DEI mess. But I mean, the only one that I can truly say again is Assassin's Creed, but the game still hasn't come out yet. So but again, that's just a small subset there, and that was a totally different situation too. I must admit, even though I had a black man in there, and they called it DEI, but a lot of that stuff sparked up because of the Japanese community, or what they cared or didn't care about. So that was a whole nother subset too. So I wouldn't really even care even classify that in 100% as what we when we consider high profile here. But let's continue on here. Our games will always be developed to maximize player enjoyment and commercial success, and as such, we will not be integrating any social or political agencies into the experiences going forward, having observed the high risk this can present. So you're scared. Basically, you're scared and you're afraid of what that particular community will think if you did something that's out of what's considered the norm, right? Being safe, you're going to have either a fantasy character or you're going to have a Caucasian male in your video game, and you're not going to touch on any real world issues. Okay, all right, gotcha. Um, like Arrowheads, he'll recognize the shoehorning DI into games to tick a box or fulfill an agenda can do more harm than good, and we've seen in recent years is one of the reasons why many games were labeled woke and subsequently review bombed. Yeah, again, it's a small subset, but yeah, they would go through those links of review bombing your game. So I can understand though how you see that constantly, and you're like, oh no, I don't want to touch that. And again, I'm not upset at the developers who take that stance. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to touch that, but I also don't like y'all being super vocal about this, quote unquote forced DEI here. I don't like that either. Taking a cold hard stance on that and saying, "Oh yeah, forced DEI is bad because you're again sounding just like them in this sense, right? You're sounding just like them, but do you truly feel like that? You truly feel like that, or are you just afraid? Because I take this in CI Games or Ryan Hill's case, I take that as they're just afraid of the potential backlash. They're just afraid of the potential backlash. To be fair, the gaming company business, yeah, and I understand that. I understand that. You shouldn't lean far one way or the other. I do agree with that part. I do agree with that. Yeah, but you can't please everyone. You can't please everyone. So it's saying a follow up post on social media, CI Game CEO Merrick reiterated that the company will not integrate DEI elements in their game just to fit a political or social agenda. Okay, so all right, so the marketing, the global marketer and the CEO both said the same thing here. I don't think we'll ever truly get past this whole DEI mess. Um, but I do hope that gamers eventually just take a stance here and be like, yo, I'm tired of this because y'all are going to literally crap on every single video game and like, hey, this may be my favorite franchise, but you're saying that there's DEI in here because X, Y, and Z. I don't like that. Can I just play the video game? Can I see what happens when the video game comes out? And then I can make my own unbiased opinion rather than listen to you crap on a game months or even years before it comes out and already give it a negative connotation. And then in my mind, because like I said, what these grifters do is they prey on the negativity in your mind, and they make you believe that what they're saying is a bad thing. They make you believe that DEI is a bad thing, and it's not. It's not a bad thing. And again, people don't know what DEI even means. DEI has literally turned into, oh, because it has black people or trans or people in the LGBTQ community, and that's not true. DEI also includes women, and that's not just minority women. It includes Caucasian women as well. So do you also hate your own kind? Are you sexist as well? So like I said, this can dive deep, right? Like DEI does not just mean black people. But it's gotten that negative connotation all 2024, and it's not like that. Like, what are we talking about here? So this is what I say. Like, a lot of these people are idiots because they don't even know what the term means, and they have spun it into something else that it's not. They've literally spun it into something else that it's not. So that's where we're at, man. I hope that more companies don't come out and start spewing this nonsense, because then we're going to get to a point where we're going to go back to the 80s and 90s and early 2000s where there's literally no variety in these games. You're not going to see any minority. It's just going to go back to Caucasian men who are the main protagonists or some fantasy character. Um, And who wants to see that? That's going to eventually get boring. And I've said this before. Like, I don't necessarily care, who's the main protagonist there. I just care if the game is good or not. Like, if the story is good, then I'll rock with it regardless. But it will eventually get boring and old if we constantly going to see these companies take the safe route and just put Caucasian males as a main protagonist in your video game. You're not going to have any LGBTQ people. You're not going to have any minorities in your game, or whatever minority you're going to have in your game, or it's just going to be like low level NPC roles. Like that's not fun. That's not fun. I don't know about y'all, man, but I don't want to see the same old thing just regurgitated here. Like, we're in 2025. Like, I do want to see a little bit more variety in my video games. Is that too hard to ask? Or are y'all just going to be scared because of what the anti-woke people are going to say? Like, you're going to be afraid of being review bombed. Like, take the risk, take the risk. You don't have to just put them in the forefront and make them a stereotype, whatever you decide. But there can be some creative ways to make a story and have a main protagonist and not have to be just a traditional Caucasian white male. Like what? So we'll see, man. We'll see. The sad thing is, with the recent presidential election, we're gonna see so much more of this. Yeah, unfortunately, you already see it happen with Musk and Zuckerberg, when you have to choose not to support them the same way, but hey, let them, yeah. So we'll see, man. You saying those cook when they were talking about critical race, CRT shouldn't be taught in elementary school when it never was. Exactly. I never learned about critical race theory in elementary schools. Like, what are they even talking about? Some people that think whiteness is the default. Yeah. And again, it gives people and it goes back to the example of like a little girl, like a little black girl, for example, and they've only saw white dolls to play with, right? You've only seen white Barbie dolls, while you're growing up. So you're going to automatically think that that's the norm, right? You're going to automatically think that that's the norm when you don't see any other dolls or any other complexion, let alone your own complexion. So that's just a natural thing. It's similar to somebody growing up and your parents or grandparents are racist, and they teach you that, hey, whatever skin color that you're in, or that you are, or whatever culture that you are, is right, and any other race or any other culture, any other skin color is bad. And you, as a little kid, you don't know any better, so you're automatically going to think that, and you are going to lead that into your adult life. And then guess what? It continues the cycle. It continues the cycle of being racist. Racism is not taught. Racism is not taught in schools like that. Racism is handed down from generation to generation, from what your parents, grandparents, and great grandparents thought. That's all taught by them. It's not taught in the book. It's not taught by going on social media. You're not just going to automatically be thinking that stuff. It comes from your parents. It comes from who you grew up with. So, whatever they think, you're going to think that that's the default. You're going to think that that's the right way. So, it's the same stuff, man. Then Meg Ryan or something that said something like that. So that's that, man. That's that. We'll see what ends up happening in 2025. But like I said, I've been tired of it. And I hope that it stops. I hope that it stops. All right. Dynasty Warriors. So this game is out. I still don't know if I'm gonna cop it. I still don't even know. We'll see. But Dynasty Warriors 10 was canceled before Origins took shape. So this is interesting. So Dynasty Warriors Origins coming out this week. And it actually, IGN gave it a 9. I was actually very surprised. They gave Dynasty Warriors a 9. I'm like, wow, very, very interesting. But in order for Origins to be made, Dynasty Warriors 10 had to be canceled. It had to be canceled. In a recent interview, senior developers from Koei Tecmo revealed that they were working on a numbered Dynasty Warriors game before Origins entered development, and then 10 got canceled. In an interview, multiple people from Koei Tecmo sat down and they said, before Origins, Oshima and I were working on a so-called Phantom Number title with a different concept. This title at the time was an expansion of the direction of Dynasty Warriors 7 with the stage clear system and many playable generals. So basically the same stuff. And then 4Gamer asked if that game was ultimately canceled, and then he confirmed, yes, it's not what Oba and Oshima were making was bad, but as current consoles such as the PS5 appeared and we continued to verify it internally, we talked about whether we could use those specs to make the best Musou that can be made now. So the new Dynasty Warriors we made is Origins, which is a great move. I respect them for doing it. I played the demo and it was actually quite fun. The team went on to explain that the ideas created to power this unknown number title weren't wasted and that some of them had been incorporated into Origins. Okay. All right. So they didn't completely scrap it. So they put some of those elements from 10 into Origin. I mean, which makes sense. I mean, you're not going to completely abandon it. But that's interesting there. That's interesting. So they were going to make 10 and they were just going to make it a standard Musu game like 7, and that's not what we're looking for. We want something a little bit more unique. So, but it's a good move. It's a good move here. You never played Dynasty Warriors before. What about it hooks people? Just the fact that you can be a badass on the battleground. Literally, like it's just hordes of enemies just coming at you, and it literally just makes you feel like a badass, just like mowing down hordes and hordes of enemies. So that's really the appeal of it. Back then it was super dope. Especially like on PS2, PS3, like it was very interesting to see like all of those characters on one screen at a time, and you just beating them all up. That was the appeal of it. And then you got to learn about Three Kings. You got to learn about the Three Kings. So I learned a lot about Chinese history back then too. So it was very unique. It was very unique at the time, but it just got stale. It just got stale very quickly there. So like the last one that I played before I kind of stopped was like 5, and then I tried either 7 or 8 again, and because I got it for free, and I was like, oh man, same old, same old. So I was like, I'm not getting back because I'm not gonna play another Dynasty Warriors because it's the same old stuff. But I was like, Origins. When I saw the preview, I was like, oh, this is kind of unique. Y'all added some different mechanics here, so like I'm gonna try it out. And the demo was actually pretty fun. So that's that. That's that. But the gameplay hasn't changed that much, Crew Boy. Going back to what Dupe said. I mean, what I answered to Dupe, it hasn't changed that much, but they do have like a counter system. And some of the ways that you do moves has changed a little bit. But I think the overall concept is still kind of the same. It hasn't really changed that much. It hasn't changed that much, but I think some of the mechanics, some of the basic mechanics, have changed, and it made it more unique for like those one-on-ones with other generals. And that's the thing that I saw. Like it kind of keeps you in the pocket and like gives you better options to defend yourself rather than just, all right, I'm just going to keep pressing square, and then triangle and then circle to do my special move and then rinse and repeat. So that's it. That's it. And then final bit of news: Bungie is coming out with a MOBA, and apparently it's upcoming Gummy Bears MOBA. And they said it's inspired by Smash Brothers. This is interesting. So Bungie, I wonder that they just give up on Marathon here. I guess we'll see if we continue to read because Marathon was supposed to be what Bungie was working on, but now we see this MOBA. So, new information claims that Bungie's upcoming MOBA Gummy Bears is inspired by Smash Brothers and is being developed by a new PlayStation studio. According to a report, sources close to the project have revealed that Bungie's Gummy Bears will introduce several elements from Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Franchise while being a MOBA at its core. Aspects such as a percentage based damage system, players being knocked off the map, and more will seemingly be incorporated into the game. Moreover, Bungie's Gummy Bears have been in development for 3 years and aims to target a younger audience by incorporating vibrant and colorful visuals. Actually, now that I think about it, I think we spoke about this before on the pod. The title is called The Most Fun Project from Incubation, and multiple game modes are in the works. The title will also feature a class system with roles such as support, attack, and defense. There will also be a social aspect to the game where players can interact with each other between matches. Yeah, I actually did hear about this. So 2023. Um, yeah. It was like very short. Yeah, it was very short, but I think we talked about this. So, so the PvP title was being developed in Unreal Engine 5, and now since 2023, the project can be handed over to a new PlayStation Studio. I wonder what this new PlayStation Studio is, where 40 Bungie devs have joined the team to carry out the development. So it said that on the news, a former exec claimed that Bungie hired fans as they would work for less money. What the heck? Also, former Marathon director has sued Bungie and Sony over alleged inappropriate contact. Oh dang. You saw catch up on the Bungie stuff since you quit Destiny 2. Hiring fan for cheap labor is crazy. Yeah, that is. So we'll see what ends up happening with this. I wouldn't say I'm excited, but I'm like slightly intrigued to see what this game is going to look like and how it's going to play. we shall see. But yeah, I was like gummy bears. I was like, this sounded familiar. And now as I continue to read, I was like, yeah, we did talk about this. He said, don't they owe money to PlayStation? I don't know if they owe money to them, but but yeah, but PlayStation owns them. Yes, PlayStation does own them under that umbrella. So so that's that, y'all. That is